Les négociations d'adhésion, en fait, c'est un terme qui est trompeur. Pourquoi? Parce qu'on négocie très peu. À partir du moment où un pays a choisi librement, volontairement, de devenir membre de l'Union européenne, donc de faire sa demande de candidature, il est bien évident qu'il demande à adhérer à un club. Ce club, comme tout club, a des règles. Et donc les règles doivent être acceptées et adoptées.
On October the 3rd, 2005, the Turkish foreign minister came to Luxembourg to officially open his country's accession negotiations. Turkey will discuss with the Union how it will apply the 35 chapters of the acquis. Croatia will have to do the same. As any enlargement is preceded by negotiations, the Union has learnt lessons from the past. As a result, two new elements will apply to Ankara and Zagreb. Firstly, the Copenhagen political criteria, which include protection of minorities, have been integrated into Article 6 of the Treaty of Amsterdam and are now part of the acquis communautaire. As a result, they're the subject of a chapter in the negotiations called Justice and Fundamental Rights.
Ça ne veut pas dire qu'ils sont négociables, et au contraire, ce sont parmi les critères qui ne sont pas négociables, ni avec des périodes transitoires, ni avec aucune formule de compromis. Mais c'est un élément important. Ça n'est plus seulement du monitoring de la part de la Commission, mais c'est aussi un élément clé dans les négociations elles-mêmes.
The second new element is that the European Union attaches preconditions to the opening of each chapter of negotiations. They're called benchmarks. Before opening the Customs Union chapter, Turkey has to authorize ships from all member states to dock in its ports. Once the framework of negotiations has been fixed, member states, the Commission and the candidates begin a long discussion process. In the Directorate General for Enlargement, Fabrizio Barbasso prepares to meet Turks and Croats for the screening, which is an in-depth examination.
La première partie, c'est l'explication du droit communautaire qui est faite par les experts de la Commission. Ensuite, il y a une deuxième partie. Pendant cette deuxième partie, chacune des deux délégations des deux pays vient nous voir pour nous expliquer quel est l'état de leur législation dans le domaine couvert par la responsabilité communautaire. Et en même temps, ils nous présentent leurs problèmes, leurs préoccupations et le temps dont ils auront besoin pour s'aligner avec la législation communautaire. Donc les traductions sont uniquement vers l'anglais. Je vais à la première réunion de screening avec la Croatie et la Turquie. Le sujet, c'est la recherche et la technologie et la science.
After these meetings, which can last as long as a year, the Commission suggests a timetable to the member states. It indicates which chapters can be opened first and which must wait and for how long. It makes recommendations to the 25, and it's they who decide whether a chapter can be opened or not. In line with the treaties, negotiations take place between the 25 member states and the candidate country. Technically, Commission experts discuss with the candidate and report progress to the member states. The latter have the last word in determining the position of the Union. Unanimous agreement is required. The candidate countries nominate a chief negotiator who will play the role of intermediary between the Europeans and the national governments throughout the process.
Neobično je važno, kao što rekoh, imati stalni kontakt sa predsjednikom vlade i sa ministrima u vladi. Zbog toga ja imam svoje mjesto za stolom vlade. Ja nemam rang ministra, ja imam rang veleposlanika, ja sam profesionalni diplomat zaposlen u Ministarstvu vanjskih poslova i evropskih integracija Hrvatske. Međutim, moje mjesto za stolom u vladi mi omogućava punu transparentnost i uvid u rad vlade i omogućava mi da po potrebi postavljam pitanja ili dajem sugestije.
Komisyonun burada ilk başvurduğu Türk makamı buradaki daimi temsilcilik oluyor. Dolayısıyla komisyonla sürekli temas eden makam biziz. Aynı zamanda Ankara'dan gelen bilgileri ve talimatları da buraya komisyona ileten Türk makamı biziz.
Once the screening has been done, real negotiations begin, chapter by chapter. They can involve some tough measures. For example, in Bulgaria, some installations at the nuclear power station at Kozloduy had to be shut down because they didn't meet safety standards. As part of the energy chapter, the union negotiated with Sofia for their closure in 2006. The union examines the country's plans and fixes a deadline for reforms on every chapter. On rare occasions, it agrees limited transition periods, which run beyond the accession date.
C'est vraiment chaque pays qui détermine son propre rythme. Et les négociateurs, par exemple le hongrois ou le tchèque ou le polonais, lorsqu'ils tirent aujourd'hui dans des conférences les leçons de leur expérience, se plaisent à dire que 90 voire 95% du travail ne se fait pas à Bruxelles, mais dans le pays lui-même, qui détermine par ses réformes le processus d'adhésion.
Membership is not automatic, it's an open process. Its outcome is determined by the candidate's progress. In Turkey, the Union is particularly vigilant on reforms in the administration, the judiciary, the police, and everything to do with human rights and the protection of minorities. The 25 member states decide when a chapter can be closed, but it's never final. For example, if a country reneges on its commitments, the chapter can be reopened, automatically putting a brake on negotiations. The European Union has various programs to help candidate countries come up to scratch. In Romania, for example, it finances the development of new packaging for cooked meats. While they did not meet the norms, Romania couldn't export to other EU countries. The Union is also helping to improve Romania's veterinary system to avoid the spread of mad cow disease. In total, across the board, Bucharest could receive aid amounting to more than €1 billion in 2006. The results of negotiations are included in an accession treaty. It's presented to the European Parliament, and a majority of the elected representatives of the people of Europe must adopt it. In Athens in 2003, after a favourable vote by MEPs, heads of state and government signed the treaty for the 10 new member states.
This is the date of accession.
But even after signature, the Commission verifies that the candidate country is properly implementing the promised reforms. On October the 20th, 2005, the Enlargement Commissioner presented a report to the European Parliament on the situation in Romania and Bulgaria. If there are any severe deficiencies, accession can be delayed or safeguard clauses imposed.
For instance, for Bulgaria and Romania, we have 3 different kinds of normal safeguard clauses. One concerning economic development, one concerning the single market, and one concerning justice and home affairs. If there are serious problems, serious shortcomings in these areas, then we can propose that effectively we suspend the application of EU legislation, which means that sectorally in that field the country is not a member of the European Union.
The treaty signed by the heads of state and government must then be ratified by both the member states and the candidate country. In May 2003, 90% of Lithuanians voted to join the European Union. Romanian and Bulgarian observers arrived at the European Parliament in September 2005. There are as many of them as there will be MEPs from those 2 countries in future. On the official accession date, representatives of the new member states will start work in the community institutions. But integration in the Union also means dialogue between people, and in particular between young people. Through exchanges and meetings, they can really get to know one another. The relationships established in this way are a key element in drawing old and new member states closer together.